Grid number 2, the 9 of Jacob Douglas. Grid 3, the 25, Hayden Baccaris. Grid 4, a young man that's coming on to form at the right time, the 48 of Caden Probst. Grid number 5, 23, Liam Skeets. Grid number 6, another driver moving forward late in this meeting, the South Island champion, Zach Christensen. Grid number 7, the 16 of Logan Manson. Grid 8, the 33, Clay Osborne. Grid 9, the 36 of Liam Pink. Grid number 10, the 51 of Alex Patrick. Just making it out the gate there, the 47 of Mason Potter. He has not had a good day. Young Mason, of course, the Cadet ROK champion last year. And one of these drivers is going to represent New Zealand at the International ROK Cup in Italy back in October, where KartSport New Zealand, in association, I think it was with Dunlop, will get them the chance to go and race over there with their flights, their engines, their pits, all sorts of things supplied. It is a huge thing to go for, and one of these lucky young drivers will be the second ever driver after Brianna Morris to take that trip of a lifetime. They're going to send them round once more. It's very cold here now at KartSport Southland. So they will try and get some temperature up. Sev Wright, blasting panel and paint, New Zealand KartSport Nationals 2017. Well, Dylan Grant has yet to finish outside the top 2. The IKS Race Engines driver started off with 2 second places through the heat races behind the 9 of Jacob Douglas. Turned the tables on that young man in that pre-final. Finds himself there on the grid number 1 position here on the front row. Dark horse to keep an eye on, 48, Caden Probst. This young man's come on form. Hick Brothers construction driver. Finds himself there up on those first 2 rows of the grid. We've got to thank Brazier Scaffolding as well for the tower here today. Also the camera tower over on the main straight. Big thanks to them. Well, they've really backed this down as they come off the final turn to face the start. Arguably the slowest start I have seen so far today. Racing the final Vortex Mini ROK. Grant will lead down into 1. Douglas slots up into 2nd place. Brilliant start for the top 2. Everyone getting through those first couple of corners nice and clean. 2 wide as they run through the Southern Paints corner. Down into the sweeper at Macaulay Ford. Grant just caught the ripple strip on the entry of that corner. That's allowed Douglas to stay in contention as they run through the final turn on the completion of lap number 1. Baccaris is in 3rd. 4th place is Skeets. Probst in 5th. Out the back there for the 7 card of young Bo Hill. Not sure what the issue is for Bo. Well, Grant is pushing early. Trying to open up a gap over the rest of the race field. 5th place, the 16 of Logan Manson. Skeets now closing on Baccaris for 3rd. Manson goes wide off the final turn, down the inside, making a move. Clay Osborne goes by, so too does Caden Probst. Manson's going to drop 2 places, maybe even 3 now on turn 1. Well, you can't afford to make a mistake because this field's just going to freight train you. But look at the pace out of the top 2. They've been the dominant 2 today. They're doing so again in the final. Dylan Grant, gunning for a national title. The youngster from Mount Wellington. Being kept honest by the Canterbury youngster, Jacob Douglas, the WKS kart store racer. We know the pedigree of that team. And these two are proving to be a class apart at the moment. Leaving the rest to fight the scraps for that third spot on the podium. And it's the 33 of Osborne that occupies that position from Hamilton. Skeets is there in that familiar green helmet in fourth. Black and whites, who's at 4? 65. Well, I'll tell you what, this young man has had the worst of luck here today. After polling it yesterday, Zeal Jones, just nothing's gone right as we go back to the race lead. New race leader, Douglas goes through. Douglas making an early pass here on the 20 of Grant. Third place, the 33 of Osborne. Look at that freight train behind. 18 laps to go. And Grant back down the inside, retakes the lead. These youngsters have got to be careful that they don't concentrate too much on each other. I know they've got a handy lead right now, but in 18 laps time, anything can happen. And if these two try and duke it out on the racetrack, they will just bring everybody back. Osborne in third, Skeets in fourth, Baccaris fifth. Sixth place, the South Island champ, Christensen. And down the inside again. Well, these two have got to be really careful. Grant's the race leader, looks over. Douglas in second, Osborne third. Here comes Christensen up the inside, makes his move for fifth. We'll keep an eye on that gap. It already looks like it's shrunk a little bit. Douglas back to second place on Grant. Osborne sat in third place for a little while now. Skeets has a quick look to his right. Now Grant's looking around. Grant just needs to keep his head down and go. Doesn't need to keep looking around to see that Douglas is there because it's quite... Oh, there goes Douglas again to the inside. Dives down and Grant's probably going to want to respond. And that gap is definitely shrinking. Maybe not by much, but it has reduced a little bit. And Grant will want to come back and respond on the 9 of Douglas. Osborne, Christensen, Skeets. Well, the South Island champion's certainly not out of the running for a podium. I wouldn't have thought so much this morning, but he's come on strong. Oh, he's just got to keep it on the racetrack. He went a little bit wide off the exit of that final turn as they duck and dive further back. Too wide for about 8th, 9th position. Gets a little bit tight on the exit of 1. Contact at the rear of the field. You heard the galleries, the cries of the crowd. That's what alerted me to an incident, and I looked up. There it is. Oh, an interesting line off the sweeper there for the number 9 of Douglas, but he does hold the race lead. 14 to go. We're only 8 laps in. No, we're not. We're 12. I told you I got bad maths. So we almost go half race distance in the second of our finals here today. The International Kart Supplies Vortex Mini ROK. And Douglas is doing what I thought Grant was trying to do early on in this final, and that was make a break on the field and run away. He's got about a 4 kart length, 5 kart length lead over Grant. That number 9 kart has really come on strong mid-race. Still 33, Bouchard, Osborne there in third. Osborne's got to be mindful of the fact that Christensen is coming on strong, and he's bringing along 23 Skeets with him. But look at the pace out in front for Douglas. He was the Heat 1 and Heat 2 winner, second in the pre-final. Back out where he thinks he belongs perhaps here in this final to take a national championship. That's the plan. Christensen now all over the back of Osborne. Osborne's looking all around the racetrack. Swings it wide off the final turn. Skeets in 5th. 6th place is Manson from Manawatu. Further back is the 5 of Zach Blinko, holding out 91, Charlie Coleman. Then the 11 further back, Blake Knowles from Christchurch. I'm hugely impressed with the number 9 of Douglas, the WKS kart store driver. This kart has come on a ton. Grant can't stay with him. We've still got 11 to go, so it's more than a sprint race. As Christensen is up into that 3rd place position on the podium. Osborne back to 4th. 14 out there is Marissa Arfield. Round through Macaulay Ford sweeper. Continuing to stretch away. 10 laps to go. Douglas on foot.
Down there, Mike. Douglas has gone his personal best to 36.018. The only person to go faster is the South Island champ, Zach Christensen. And Clay not far off either.
So 36.018 for the man out in front. The only other driver to match that pace is Christensen in 3rd. So is there time for Christensen to close up on Grant? You can see that Grant's kart has gone off. With 2/3 race distance, we've only got 8 to go. Osborne is still pressuring Christensen. But is there time for the South Island champion to close up on the 20 kart of Grant? Well, certainly Jacob Douglas's race fans are going to be feeling a little bit anxious and nervous right now. 8 laps to a New Zealand title, 7 laps now as the board changes. Just 7 laps to go, the second of our finals. Douglas driving sublime out in front. Christensen still under attack from Osborne. Skeets in 5th, Manson 6, Aston Addy 7, Baccaris 8, Seal Jones 9, then the 36 and 10th of Liam Pink. Here's a move up the inside for the 31 kart. Nice pass for Luke Thompson over the 14 of Marissa Arfeld. Six laps to go. Christensen fighting to hold on to a top 3 on the podium. The ones that get to run the numbers. It's all about the prestige. 4th means nothing. Well, it does mean something, obviously, but you don't get to display 4th out on the racetrack throughout the year. It's all about 1, 2, and 3. Osborne is in that 4th place. He's just outside the bubble. 5 to go for Jacob Douglas. Dominating the final. Grant in 2nd. Christensen 3rd. Osborne, Skeets, Manson. Pull, grass track for the 91. Charlie Coleman from Mount Wellington. Further back we go to, well, there's the 91 of Charlie Coleman, so I called the wrong one earlier. He's in front of the 5 of Blinko. Then the 47 of Mason Potter. Four laps to go. The gap has closed from 2nd to 3rd, but with just 4 to go, I don't know if Christensen has got enough in it in that kart to challenge on 2nd place. But never say never. Young Jacob out in front. Man, this guy has just raised his level in this final, and that's what champions do. They're able to find an extra 10th when they need it. Christensen still hangs on for his 3rd place from Osborne, Skeets and Manson. The only race for position in our top 6 really is there for that 3rd and 4th place. Osborne's not going to give up his fight on it. He wants that position bad. We got an early retirement, 52, 51 is it? 52, Reef Jolly, Dunedin gone. 2 laps to go, race fans. Dominating out in front from Canterbury, Jacob Douglas. And you can see now that Christensen has most certainly made big inroads on second place. That battle for the podium is not over. It is very much alive. Douglas in front, he's got no such worries. But Dylan Grant must surely now have noticed that he is, and his second place position is coming under threat. And it will be a 1 lap dash for the finish for that one, as Jacob Douglas has 700 metres to go for a national title and a chance to represent New Zealand and Italy at the ROK Cup. Oh, pulling out of the draft, Christensen. Why did he go defensive? That's probably cost him a chance of second place. He's trying to stop Osborne from coming through in the 33. But if those two had worked together, they probably most surely would have caught Grant in second. Round through the final corners. This young man has proved himself to be a star of the final couple of turns. Vortex Mini Rock, a New Zealand champion, the 9 from Canterbury, Jacob Douglas. Second place is going to go to Dylan Grant, who will take third on the line. I think Christensen got it. Well, Osborne, I told you he would not give up all the way to the line. I'm pretty sure Christensen took third. But how about that? The WKS KartSport driver, the first champion for them this weekend. Young Jacob Douglas from Canterbury, your new New Zealand Vortex Mini Rock champion.
How close was that, Mike? And looking at the timing screens here, I'm seeing a gap for third place, the South Island champ, Zach Christensen, over Clay Osborne by 1/100th of a second.
Wow, yeah, well, that was real close. You know, I think those two made a slight mistake in focusing on each other in that last lap. I seriously think they could have caught Grant.
Yeah, it was a big gap with 2 laps to go. It was still a second. And I thought, honestly, that that Grant had it in the bag, but they really mowed into that in the last couple of laps. I think probably Osborne just decided it was on for everyone and made a move. So I don't see a problem with that. I mean, if you feel like you're going to end up 4th if you don't make a move, then you've got to do something about it. So good on him for trying, and how close. Amazing.